Today marks our subcommittee's first hearing. The Subcommittee on Economic and Consumer Policy was created to focus attention on the pocketbook issues that matter the most to Americans: economic opportunity and fairness, consumer health and safety, and the overall quality of life. We will do this first and foremost by asking tough questions and following the facts wherever they lead. Today, our focus is on a group of widely used personal care consumer products that contain talc, a mineral that manufacturers put in baby powder for infants, makeup for teenage girls, and personal care products for people of all ages. Now, why is this issue important right now? First, recent reports claim that Johnson & Johnson, a large maker of personal care products, was aware for decades that its talc products sometimes contained asbestos, a carcinogen that has killed thousands of miners and shipyard workers. And separately, the FDA recently issued health advisories regarding cosmetics marketed by Justice and Claire's to children, also containing asbestos. Let's be clear. There is no question that exposure to asbestos is hazardous to human health. And geologists know that asbestos can be found in rock formations that also contain talc. Yet, the FDA cannot order any manufacturers to recall these personal care or cosmetics products that potentially contain asbestos. The question is, why? Because a loophole in the statute that empowers the FDA to regulate personal care products and cosmetics does not allow the FDA to require necessary recalls. Thankfully, some manufacturers, like Claire's, has volunteered to recall products the FDA has found to contain asbestos, which I thoroughly commend. But FDA authority generally remains weak. In fact, product recalls, mandatory risk labeling, and adverse event reports are just a few of the processes in which compliance with FDA guidelines is entirely voluntary for the cosmetics industry. This is a statutory problem that needs reform, and I expect the Energy and Commerce Committee, under the leadership of Chairman Frank Pallone, will focus like a laser on that problem to protect consumers. But juries across America are not waiting for Congress to act. In fact, juries have awarded verdicts to victims and survivors who have suffered or died from ovarian cancer that was possibly caused by talcum baby powder. Many of those juries have assessed punitive damages against manufacturers for failing to warn consumers of talcum powder's ovarian cancer risk. Today, we are joined by women and their families from across the country who suffer from ovarian cancer, which they attribute to long-time use of talcum baby powder. One of these families is the Browning family from my home state of Illinois. Anthony and Alyssa Browning, thank you both for being here today on behalf of your mother, Gloria Browning. I extend my sincerest condolences to you and your family. Additionally, one of our witnesses today, Mr. Salter, is the surviving son of a deceased ovarian cancer patient. He will testify to what he and his mother's doctors believe caused his mother's death. Mr. Salter, I extend our sympathies to you as well, and I want to personally thank you for joining us here today. We will also hear from a distinguished epidemiologist, Dr. Ann McTiernan, who has conducted extensive analyses of the scientific data on talc and asbestos. We will also hear from the Environmental Working Group, which is devoted to consumer health and education to help us evaluate the problems in the federal regulation of personal care products. We are also listening to what the largest maker of talcum body powders, Johnson & Johnson, says about the safety of their products. In preparing for this hearing, my staff has discussed the company's detection methods, manufacturing and mining processes, and the health risk data with senior executives in their company, and we will continue to gather facts from them as well. The average adult uses 9 personal care products daily in this country, 9. Consumers use these products trusting that they are safe and will not harm themselves or their families. Today's hearing is just our first step in protecting consumers from potentially carcinogenic products. The American people deserve nothing less.